Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, how I got a store manager fired for selling my property to a Karen mom. Karen doesn't think I'm disabled enough for the handicap spot. Update, club president thinks he owns my art. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. How I got a store manager fired for selling my property to a Karen mom. I'm 26 and am both autistic and have severe PTSD from some childhood trauma caused by both of my parents that I really don't want to get into. I'm on a few different medications for depression and migraines and have to live in Section 8 housing that I just moved into a few months ago after being on the waiting list for years. I don't like being touched or loud noises. And I certainly don't like seeing anyone take my stuff. When I moved to the city for the Section 8 housing, I'd been gifted a brand new Razor Kick scooter by a friend to get around my new area with. And I love it. It's black and made a bit sturdier than typical ones for an adult to ride and has bigger wheels. It also isn't sold in the local stores, but they have similar looking ones in the bike department. And obviously I don't just leave it outside when I go into a store. I fold it up and put it in my cart while shopping. I look kinda twitchy, so most people leave me alone. And I'm just fine with that. But touch me without consent or take my stuff and be ready for a massive freakout. I went down the canned food aisle and started browsing the chunky soup. When I picked what I'd wanted and put the cans in the cart, I noticed my scooter was gone. And there was a woman with a kid fast walking away while carrying it. I shouted after them to return my scooter. But they ignored me, so I abandoned my cart to give chase. When I caught up to the lady and the kid, I tried to take my scooter back and the kid screamed so loud my eardrums felt like they were gonna pop. And the Karen mom shoved down while yelling something I didn't hear because my ears were ringing and my brain just stopped working for a moment. A manager noticed the commotion and came to see what the trouble was. I didn't even get a chance to speak when the Karen mom started calling me a creep and was demanding I be thrown out. I kept trying to explain what really happened, but the Karen just kept yelling over me. We were separated and I was made to sit in an office. The manager approached me and I asked him where my scooter was, and he admonished me and said it was sold to the Karen, and I shouldn't have tried to take it from the kid when they were just trying to buy it from the store. Then he pointed out he had to give the Karen a discount just because of the situation. I understandably freaked out and told him that the Karen had taken my scooter that I came into the store with. And it wasn't sold there. The manager just looked confused and I nearly broke down. Then I pulled my phone out and showed him a picture a friend had taken of me with the scooter right after I'd gotten it. The next thing I knew, he was running out of the room. And when he finally came back, he said that the Karen was long gone. I pulled out my phone back out and started frantically calling the police. The manager actually tried to stop me by putting his hand over my phone, and I freaked out from him touching me. He backed off because I'd nearly kicked him and was panicking and saying he'd buy me another scooter from the store. I told him that my scooter was expensive and didn't come from their store. And I wanted mine back. Well, it turned out I had managed to dial 911 because the police were already listening in on the line and the operator was trying to get my attention. I just told them to send someone over because my property had been stolen. I had to wait for another hour at least while police showed up and then went through the CCTV footage. It clearly showed me entering the store with the scooter and showed the Karen and her crotch goblin taking it from my cart. And the mess that followed when I tried to get it back. I wanted my scooter back and police had to find the Karen from the camera footage of the parking lot. They found her address by running her plate number they got from the camera footage, and I got to ride in the back of a police car while we went to her apartment. The officer knocked on her door and I didn't hear the situation because I was still sitting in the back of the car with the windows closed. But the Karen mom looked really angry and eventually brought out the scooter after some back and forth. She practically had to wring it out of her kid's hands. I got let out of the car and they asked me if I wanted to press charges for assault because the mother had shoved me. She looked ghost white when I said I did want that. But the Karen started crying and begging me. She said that she honestly thought it was something the store was selling and it was her kid's birthday. I yelled that didn't excuse her stealing from someone else's cart, let alone from a legally disabled man. Her kid was also loudly crying and my ears were hurting again. So I said I wouldn't press charges on her if she didn't come near me or my stuff again. But I wanted something done about the manager at the store for letting this happen. And I was ready to ride my scooter all the way back there. But the police convinced me that it'd be better if I just went home and calmed down. I later learned on my next visit to the store a couple days later that manager was fired over what happened because he already had a few complaints against him and didn't bother to check that the scooter wasn't one of theirs. And the store gave the Karen and her kid a replacement Razor scooter that they had in stock because she'd already paid for one. But she was also banned for 6 months from the store for shoving me and stealing my property. I was also given a $50 gift card for some free groceries since I wasn't able to buy anything the day that mess happened. Now every time I go into that store a few of the employees know me by name. And one actually told a random kid to leave me alone when he asked about my scooter. I certainly keep a better eye at now too. I've also since added a name tag on the underside of the scooter with my full name on it just in case this happens again. Always press charges. Or the Karens will never learn. They act this way because it works sometimes. Not just the Karens. It's harder to press charges later, but you can always have them dismissed. In this day and age, establishing a paper trail is very important. I'm really sorry that happened to you. I'm confused how the manager managed to sell something not in their stock inventory to someone though. I mean, maybe using a miscellaneous code, but how did they even come up with a price? Thinking maybe the manager sold it for cash and pocketed it, so maybe they were also let go for theft too. What a shit show. First off, great job standing up for yourself. That's not easy, especially when angry Karens and ineffective managers and the police are involved. I also wanted to say, you absolutely did not get the manager fired. He got himself fired for grossly mishandling a situation, on a few occasions, it sounds like. So have no guilt, and ride on, my friend. Karen doesn't think I'm disabled enough for the handicap spot. So I, 24F, am in the process of finding out if I tore my left ACL or not. During this time, I was given a temporary handicap pass because I'm on crutches and have a knee brace. This morning, I drove to my MRI appointment and saw an empty handicap spot and parked there. I shouldn't be walking regularly, but I can at least limp around the car and grab the crutches in the passenger seat. Right before I open the door, some lady approaches me from behind and is all, "Miss? Miss? You can't park there." I'm not a mean person and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, so I just go, "I'm on crutches and have a pass, don't worry." This lady, with her voice sharpening, says, "You can clearly walk." And I don't see no crutches. So I open the door and pull one out. For some context, my crutches are decorated with stickers. The lady, whom will now be known as Karen, scoffed and said, "That pretty shit ain't real. That's just a decoration. Move your car." She pulls out her phone, and I assume she's gonna start filming me. I'm not confrontational by any means, but my knee was hurting, I woke up too early, and Karen was probably about to blast me on Facebook. So I responded, "Filmin' this crutch will be up your ass." I am not sure what happened next, as I turned around and hobbled off. I was so upset I forgot my other crutch in the car. I have a friend who has phocomelia, so her arms didn't develop normally in the womb and are small and frail. The rest of her body is very normal but not her arms. She has a specially made steering system in her car so she drives. So one day we roll up to Target and she parks in the handicap spot and some lady on my passenger side of the car yells, "You're not crippled," and she literally runs around the back of the car and flaps her tiny arms in the wind and we both just died laughing. The Karen just jumped in her car, embarrassed, and drove away quickly. Thanks for bringing that memory back up, we still die about it to this day. Oh, shit, I just spat coffee on my screen. That's hilarious. I love your friend. Ridicule is such a good tool against people like that. Tell them to call the cops since you're so clearly in the wrong. Don't tell them shit, ignore them and walk away. Why waste your energy with them? They won't change and you just end up frustrated. Never had anyone challenge me, but I'm sure my day is coming. I have congestive heart failure, a pacemaker, and 2 broken but repaired ankles. I run out of breath when I have to hobble long distances. Sucks, but I do my best. But I am not in a wheelchair, I don't have crutches, and I look pretty normal. Ugly, but normal. When I was in a wheelchair with the first ankle break, parents were parked in the handicapped parking spots outside the gym at our high school waiting to pick up their crotch fruit from swimming practice. Some woman saw me struggling and she started yelling at the people in the handicap spots. They didn't get it. I have MS, and get "well you look okay" regularly from people, including my own family. Or my other favorite, "well my next door neighbor's nephew's postman's niece's uncle has MS and he doesn't moan about it." Good for him, Brenda, good for him. It's annoying when people want to decide whether or not you are disabled enough, like it's a disability competition. Update: club president thinks he owns my art. Well, I thought things were over. After reporting me for removing my art, I sent the club a formal notice to remove all of my work. Guy removed half of the work but kept some stuff up, so I sent a warning notice a week later letting him know if it wasn't removed I'd be contacting the university to file a complaint. Frankly speaking, I only sent the warning because I really didn't want to go through the process of actually reporting the organization. I should have just gone ahead and reported him silently, but it didn't sit well with me. He may not have given me courtesy of a heads up, something the club's constitution explicitly says is required before disciplinary action, but I didn't feel right doing the same thing. Thought that would be that, issue's over, we both can move on with our lives. I get an email from him 2 weeks later. In it, he says he's declined my request to have my artwork removed. My work belongs to the organization, and if I want we could have a mediated discussion to come to a civil conclusion to our unfortunate disagreement. Funny how it's turned into an unfortunate disagreement after he attempted to have me punished by the university for my own work. Worst case scenario, I could have lost scholarships over this. I didn't, everything worked out well, but this level of escalation was grossly unjustified. Doubly ironic, this club was a place that claims to support artists. So, now I'm meeting with the university's lawyer to see what I can do about this. Here's hoping things work out. I have a ton of evidence disproving I ever signed my works rights away. Guy really has his knickers in a knot, doesn't he? Good move speaking to the lawyer. I hope they're able to put this to rest once and for all. Good luck, I hope it works out for you. Unless it was donated or the club purchased it, it's calling theft. Unless you signed your intellectual property rights over, you are the copyright owner of that art and can sue for theft of your IP. After reporting me for removing my art, I sent the club. The above wording means you reported yourself. My bad for it sounding confusing. I meant after he reported me for removing my art. I can see how it sounds like I reported myself though. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.